if anybody else comes in. If not, they'll have the recording. So I just hit record, so we're good. Oh, that's horrible because I think everybody really wanted to be on this call. I just resent it to everyone though. I think. I don't think I left anybody out. But the recording will be great. That'll be fine. All right, well, let's take a deep breath. Technology almost every week, right? Gets us? All right. Let's start. I have a whole nice little agenda here. Let's start right now though with how's it going? Like what's going on? What's working? Let's do a little, I can go into my little this little study of our detox, but let's hear from you ladies. What's happening? How was the last week? How was the transition into this week? Like, what are we up to? What are we in for in this next coming week? Who wants to go first? Anyone?
I don't know what we're in for. I'll go first, and you can't see me. Can you hear me?
Can hear you, yes.
Okay, good. And I'm sorry because I'm in the car, ladies. I apologize, but today got away from me with work. No, I found it very, very interesting. So I have learned to like that tea. I say that tea because it is not something I would have ever drank before.
The CCF?
With the cumin, coriander, and the fennel. And I have to tell you, I kind of like it.
I do too.
Which I was very surprised.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. I'm like, this is not bad. But for me, because it's already so hot down here, I have to let it get just warm. I can't keep drinking it hot. It was making me too hot and I was flushing like, ugh.
Yeah, it'll become overwhelming.
I liked it. I did. It was good. I thought it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like it too.
So that was good. Yep. I had my first golden milk yesterday. I loved it.
Oh my gosh, aren't they amazing?
Yes, I found this place down here called Summer Moon. I'm like, okay, I'm going to try it. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be hooked. Yes.
So good. So nourishing too for the system.
Yeah. And I don't know, I've just felt better. I am down 1.5 pounds. I don't know if that means anything, but I'm going to take it. I'm just
There you go. Every little bit.
Yeah.
And that's only the first week. Wait till the second week.
I know. I haven't even gone into really getting into the veggies more, but more salads for me because I'm raw veggies more than anything. I really don't like a lot of cooked vegetables. So I'm making a lot of stuff with salad and putting, chicken with salad or steak with salad and doing it that way with all the vegetables.
Okay. Very good.
So that's where I'm
at. All right.
I can jump in.
All right.
Yeah, I've been loving it. The first 2 days I noticed I had a really bad headache and I didn't think I drank that much coffee. But I had like womp, 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 womp headache from the coffee, which took a little while. And that was the only real like negative effect I felt. So that was kind of tough, but the thing I'm really loving the most is the slowing down while eating. So I've kind of been trying really hard to kind of stick to like the intermittent fasting part of it, like limit my eating window because I'm so bad at that. And it's kind of a cool challenge. Like I feel like I accomplished something when I can do it. Like I wait, no, 12:30 is when I'm having lunch. No, 5:30 is when I'm having dinner. I just like do it. And I'm like, I did that. I'm so strong. It sounds silly, but like those little accomplishments I'm finding to be really cool. And sitting down like right here and like eating my lunch and like tasting it, and like it sounds really silly, but I was eating like my kitchery and I had some butternut squash in it, and I'm like, yum, this is so sweet and delicious. Like everything tastes better. And I think I just shovel food in front of my computer normally and I don't even taste it.
Exactly what everyone does. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm like really loving I think being more intuitive, and like listening to my body more. And I'm trying to do what you're saying about smelling things and like, like certain things I usually really like. I'm like, no, I'm not really feeling that, and like craving certain herbs. It's just really cool to feel like my body actually giving me signals,
The intuition in your body is so, so strong. And it is so like it's spot on for you. I mean, it is like, it will tell you, and especially transitioning now from the winter into the spring, things that you ate in the winter just aren't going to be appealing right now. Like you'll just notice, like you just don't want those things. Your body, if you listen to it, if you really listen to it, is going to want lighter things. It's going to want the stuff that like nature is giving us right now, because it knows it needs to get rid of that stuff from the winter. So all the things you're taking the time out to feel and to really like have those sensations, they're real, and that's kind of how it should be. So you're actually getting this intuition, I mean, this wisdom from your body that it knows it wants to tell you. So it's really quite fascinating.
It's super cool.
Yeah. Victoria, how are you doing?
Good, all good.
Liking so now we're getting into week 2. So things that we were maybe tasting and trying in week 1, we're going to kind of transition now into that, like, so we were coming out from regular lifestyles and to try to, like, you know, getting rid of some things, bringing in more whole foods, like getting rid of some of the things that weren't serving us or that were winter items, and now we're going to get into more of the real detox, like really let your body kind of just do what it needs to do, like get these things out, like reach really deep, and it will allow it with, like Ashley was saying, like taking the time out for a minute, eating more slowly, eating quietly, letting the body digest slowly and like really get these nutrients. So, oh, good. Kathy and Greg got in. Greg, how's the week going for you? How was your first week and then transition into the second?
It was good. I can't say I was 100%. I drank some of the hot water. That took a little bit to get used to.
Yeah.
I was good. I didn't, I had swordfish Friday night, but other than that, everything was all vegetables.
Wow.
I thought it was weird. I guess the other day I drank a lot of water, but I had rice, I guess. Probably too much rice. I gained 2 pounds.
Well, that'll happen too sometimes, just like if you're not a water drinker, like you'll hold on to some of that water, but it might be your body telling you that you might have been coming from a little bit of dehydration and that your body needs that right now, needed it last week, and it might need it to get into this week to start clearing things out. So wait to see how this week plays out.
And I didn't notice anything with my tongue at all.
No difference.
No.
That's good. And that's, well,
But I don't know what I'm looking for either. I mean,
well,
I
your
can.
tongue, it should be a normal, like the perfect look of a tongue should be like a light pink tissue. And then especially first thing in the morning, it should have a little bit of a white coating. So that's the toxins that have come up through your digestion, like that are in your mouth, and that want to come out. So that's showing you that there's toxins in your body, but that's like a normal level. Say it's springtime and you have a lot of allergies and you look at your tongue first thing in the morning or even throughout the day, it's probably going to have more of a yellow to green on it, which is real signs of like mucus and like there's deep toxins in your body that need to come out. So you need to kind of be aware. But
Yeah, it was mostly just it was, I guess, pink with a thin white film. And so I was happy that I was able to stick to just vegetables, and I only had swordfish like once.
okay. Yeah. That's very good. Very, very good. It's usually a hard thing for people to transition. It's harder to let go of all the other things than to bring in the new stuff. It's usually really, it's a mind, mind over matter to start getting rid of things rather than just focusing on bringing the new things in. So that's a really good, that's a good sign. Very good sign.
Yeah, but I have a question about the hot water and the lemon. You said it's hot. Is that like cayenne pepper?
No, temperature.
No,
So-
but do I want to make it like
You can, if you feel like you have very like real deep seated ama, or you have toxins in your body at a deeper level, you want to spice your water up.
Oh, okay. So I put in cayenne pepper with lemon and it was amazing. It was
Yeah.
good. But is that what you were talking about, I guess?
Yeah, so the spicing, depending on like how much you think that you need to release or how much you want to, or like we said, if you are kapha, which is that bigger, sturdier, body type that has a very slow digestion or is slow to get out of bed in the morning and slow to like do lots of things in life,
You
then
know what?
the spices are going to get everything moving.
I think I addressed this the last time, our last meeting, but I'm PETA and but I still want the spices. So I don't understand that part of it. Like
Yeah,
why
you just have to be careful. You're in the heat also. It's hot down there. But if your body is telling you that, pizzas really like these spicy as well. But so in Ayurveda, it's like increases like. So if you are very hot and fiery inside and your mind is hot and fiery, and then you're adding spicy food into it, you're going to aggravate that more. So
Okay.
to balance it, you would go cool, but we are in a cleanse. So you probably want a little bit of that spice, but not to where you actually feel like you're sweating or you're, where it's aggravating your mind or you feel short-tempered or aggravated or agitated. That means you've had too much fire. That means you got too much going on.
Because I took the questionnaire, I took it, and I need a balance.
Mhm.
PETA, whatever it's called, is definitely me, but the
The
Vita
vata. The vata.
is that's what I need to balance apparently.
Okay, probably. Yeah, I mean, people, me knowing you like that, you can, you and I can have a whole nother thing because vata is movement and airy and energy in all directions and things. So sometimes that's the mind, or that's the body is more like a dry,
You're right. That
So
could be different.
yes.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
All right, I have a dumb question.
No questions are dumb.
So my Vata is really low. It's only like 15, maybe 20%. Am I
Okay.
supposed to focus on increasing my Vata, or am I supposed to focus on what my strengths are and eat according to that?
Yes. So everybody has all three doshas in their body. Like when you're born, you have all three. You just have a more concentration usually of one over the other two, or you're dual, you have one and two, and then the third is less. But you focus on what is your highest dosha. And if it's the body, especially, that's what you want to kind of balance in your diet. And say your mind is, if you're very vata in your mind, that's a person who like is looking at like one task and then another task and then another one. And they're super creative and they want to do this. And then they want to have that job. And then they want to travel here. And then they want to so you're like all over the place. So, and it's very, vatas can have, anxiety, they're worried, they're like always moving, because vata is movement, even in the body and everything. Vata is movement in every direction. So if you have a very high vata, you want to kind of balance that. But say, Greg, you might be like pitta kapha more.
Yes,
Then
I'm more Pitta Kapha, and so
Yeah.
I did, and my Vata was really low, so I didn't know. Am I supposed to on your menu thing? It said, should I be eating more foods like to my Vata and I don't know. I'm assuming this is to try to balance out maybe your body pH. I don't know, but I was
Yes.
really low in the Vata and high in everything, and so I wasn't sure. Am I trying to lower everything else and increase my Vata, or
No.
just focus on my strengths?
Yes, whatever your higher dosha is, that's your dosha that can come out of balance more easily. So the vata is the lower one. Say your pitta, you're super fiery in your digestion, everything you eat kind of goes through, or your mind is like super laser focused. Like when you get on a job, it is like, pinpoint focus and you get it done. And like, it's like next. But so the food is, they usually really like hot, spicy food as well. Like we're just telling Victoria. So you want to balance that with cooler food. But if you're more kapha, you're slow, kind of getting out of bed and your digestion is really slow. You might have a bowel movement only every 2 days or something. Then you want to spice that up. So you kind of have to see what might be out of balance. And then you want to balance that. Like what is aggravating to you right now? So especially in the cleanse, you don't want to really aggravate a dosha, but we do want to kind of move things around and get things kind of spiced up and going. So a pitta, say your pitta is the highest and we're in a cleanse, then you're probably going to want to add a little bit of spice, but kind of keep that at the low, and maybe not drink the hot water, maybe make it, warm to a little bit. So you don't want to superheat the body up, but in a detox, that fire, that Agni in us, that's what's going to burn the toxins. But you don't want to do so much that you get like really out of balance, because then you get aggravated, then you get agitated, you're impatient. And then the cleanse, you're going to lose that focus, that mental focus. And then the cleanse is almost going to be like, it's not, then you're not focused on the cleanse, then you're focused on the aggravation and the agitation.
Yeah,
So
that actually circling back answers my question beautifully.
okay, good.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, so Greg, I would like feel in your, so a pitta, again, pitta constitution is very fiery, very focused, very, someone in your family, Greg, is this person. Is very fiery, very laser focused, very, but out of balance, like with foods and too much, say you have too much on your schedule, too many customers, too many clients, you get like so aggravated. A kapha would go, oh, well, I'll deal with it tomorrow. And a vata would get very anxious, very worried, and very overwhelmed in like fear. A pitta gets very angry really fast. A pitta gets worried and anxiety. And a kapha just says like, all right, I'll either deal with it to tomorrow, or I'm going to hold it in. And now I feel worried to depression. Now I don't know what to do. I'm depressed. So these are the mindsets of the three. So it's really kind of easy to start feeling which are you more of. And, you start to see like, how is my mind working? How is my body working? And do I have a fiery digestion where I just incinerate everything? I want to cool that down. Am I vata where I'm super irregular and my digestive tract is very dry? You want to lubricate that. There's a certain way to like eat to keep that balanced. And then that kapha that's very content, just eating slowly, waking up slowly, is very, slow demeanor. They're very like kind and loving, and you want to kind of fire them up. You want to get them up in the morning. You want to get some spices in them. You want them to work out a little bit. You want to challenge them. So it's really pretty fascinating. That's why I always say on every call, like really start to know your dosha, like really get into who you are, because it's amazing. Not only, like I say on all the calls, do you start to balance yourself, but the people in your circle, like the people you deal with, you start understanding who they are. You can help them with some food issues, or you can help yourself, and even relationships within each other. You start to understand the person, and you can, kind of help them balance. But doshas are really important, and they're a lot of fun when you really start to understand what your dosha is and what it means. So that's,
Thank you.
Kathleen, how are you doing? She needs to unmute. Kathleen, can you hear us? She might not. Kathy might not see your mute button. All right, maybe Kathleen just wants to hear. All right, let's go back to, for 1 minute. I'm really, really glad that everybody's like kind of having fun experimenting and really seeing like that you can be aware of certain things and certain foods, like start to find what's working for you. And in this second week, we're gonna, if you aren't have any kind of, health issues or anything, I challenge you in a little bit of a way to go a little bit deeper, like go into some of those recipes. Or if you find a day where you don't have so much to do or so many tasks or, customers to meet with or something, try a little bit of juicing or, smoothie, or a little bit, like even 1 or 2 meals out of that day. Try the spicy lemonade, like see like what works for you. And there's a word in Ayurveda, it's called Tejas. So we're just talking about pitta, and pitta is that fire and that focus. And a subtle dosha of pitta is Tejas. And that's our desire. That's our discernment. That's our like laser focus. And it has to do with our Agni, which is our fire. But it's not only the fire in our stomach, it's the fire in all of our cells. It's like that intelligence of that fire. It's like shooting that arrow, that laser pinpoint. So when you get to the point of recognizing that Tejas that discernment in like your real desire. In this next week, this is going to be the fun part. So just to be aware, this detox isn't just about like, losing weight or not eating bad foods and only eating good foods. There's a way that we're not really in tune with that like fiery, that discernment of, what we really want. So I keep going back like in the beginning, know what you want, think about why you really want it, and then we'll get into that when again, but more so that what and that why, that Tejas, that fire, when we give the body the break in between meals and that overnight fasting, your body starts to get intelligent. It starts to bring in that Tejas. It gets to that real ability to focus. It's not worried about how much food you just ate, how many people, what emotions are on your mind. Think of, say you have some like major project or something you're working on, whether it's work related or really fun project or something. Now, if you've eaten a whole bunch of food, or you just had a fight with someone, or something's going on, you really don't have that great focus. Like you really don't have that mindset. You don't have that clarity, that lightness. That fire is the lightness and it's the vision. So fire is an element, but within fire, it has a lightness and a brightness, so we can see, and we have like this, it's associated with the third eye, with our intuition. So if you were to try to work on a project and you had too much to digest or whatever, you're not going to be too focused. But then on the other hand, did you ever get into a project and you're so into it and you're so it can go like hours, and all of a sudden the clock is like 7 hours or 4 hours later. You weren't concerned about eating, but you had this lightness in you and you had this laser focus. The desire to get this job done was able to be finished and able to be like really taken care of in that time that just like flew by, because you had that lightness in you. You weren't eating, you weren't bogging down the mind, you weren't bogging down, the digestive system at the same time that you're trying to focus. So it's kind of that same thing that we're going to create in this detox in this second week. We're going to really rev up that fire in our bellies, fire in all of our cells, and fire in our mind. So it's really kind of cool. You can get to the point where this Tejas in your body can be focused. We're going to come like, what are our desires? Not only what are our desires this week in our body, but our goals. Like we can actually set more time, because if we're prepping a little bit of food, or it's just something that we've kind of prepped already and have ready to go, we're going to have more time. Our schedules are definitely going to be more open. And then we're going to have more space to do more things that we want, or more things that we're desiring to do. You have time to think about like, what are our higher goals? What are we really looking for? So within having this ease in our body, doing this detox, it's going to get all that sludge and that sluggishness out of our bodies. And we're going to have more time, and we're going to have the ability, because the body is going to use that lightness to like super focus. It's going to like be pinpointed into a better direction. And it's really pretty cool. There's going to be like conflict too, because in our society, we're not used to being hungry. Like think of the last time you were really hungry, like really starving. It doesn't really happen that often, because there's too much food available all the time. There's something available. We're used to walking by our beautiful kitchens or in the office and grabbing something and eating it because it's always there. So we don't really feel that hunger. And that same thing in Ayurveda, that Tejas, that's that desire, that hunger. Some people have a fear of this hunger because of, conflict, or say even back, our grandparents, where they came from, there was real starvation. So to them, hungry is not a good thing. Like that, you don't want to be that hungry. They taught us to eat everything on our plate, and food, was so important and all. But that's the extreme case. Like we want to get to the point where food is nourishment, but we're also using it this week to clear out that old junk, get the weight off if that's what we want, or get the clarity in our mind, or just get that our bodies back to that like really beautifully intelligent state that we were born with. So your body was perfect when you were born. Everything was in line and in its perfect form. And we have kind of, gotten way out of balance with that in our Western cultures. A lot of the Eastern cultures still they really go by these schedules and these times, and food is really nourishment for them, or it's medicine. So within this too, our spices that we're using and certain herbs maybe that we're putting in, we're using the ghee, whatever that's true medicine. Like you don't, if you really look within, you can intuitively feel what you want or what's out of balance and heal it more so with food if it's something just general and easy, and relying on like, medical, science as being the brilliance and you have to go to them for the everyday, but you don't. Once you start getting in tune with your body, you'll be able to feel what really needs medical attention. I mean, thank God we have medical attention for the things we need, but day to day, start looking within, like let that fire burn and really get into like getting rid of the toxins and getting that stuff out and setting up your why. What do you really want? And like look into it, because you have the answers. Your body is that smart. We have just gotten so disconnected with our bodies that we don't pay attention to any of that. It's not our normal anymore. Like the body is like almost like this foreign thing that if something breaks down, it's like your car runs out of gas, you go get it gas, but would you put diesel in a regular fuel tank, or would you put, if you'd put regular or, premium in it? It's the same thing. Or if you get a flat tire, maybe you can change it yourself or look at what's wrong instead of calling the tow truck right away. Same thing with our bodies and medicine. Look inside, maybe there's some spices or herbs or something that are gonna get us through this detox and get some stuff out rather than, going for that food item that we really don't need right now. Or, taking that time in between meals. That's going to be the most important to create that lightness and that airiness that we need to really cleanse out is the try not to do the snacking in between unless you're really hungry. Say you did a juice in the morning and you're trying to go to like 3 p.m. You probably need a little, either a juice, an orange, something. Like pay attention to your body. What's going to work for you? This is all about your body, which is completely different than everybody else. So really pay attention to it, but try to space out, the meal times if you can, and, really do that overnight. That overnight cleanse is like crucial.
So I have a question.
Mhm.
As far as this part of it, which is so intriguing and so like mind blowing, quite honestly. How about the physical part of it? Is there a play in there? Like,
Mhm.
oh, okay.
The physical part, so that's what the walking comes in. Do you mean like that actual physical?
Yeah,
So we're
yeah.
drinking our water. We're going to keep sipping the water because hydration, even like if we're going to have seeds and nuts and things like that, normally you probably just take some and, put them on down. Hydrating your nuts and your seeds, whatever, you're trying to get more hydration into the body, because the more we can hydrate, the more we can flush it out, the more we can create that like river to get things out. So pay attention to, your water intake. But physical, you want to try to sweat, you want to try to, but you don't want to, especially if you're this week when we're really getting into the less amount of food and maybe try a little bit more liquids and soups and things like that to really let the body just cleanse. You don't want to push your exercise too hard because you don't want to, you don't want to,
sauna.
Great
Oh,
to
sorry.
yeah, no, exactly. Saunas, things like that, where you're going to sweat, but maybe, don't go run the 10 miles, or maybe don't go to the gym and do like the CrossFits or something. Like, don't push your body when you're trying to kind of come in, like go for longer walks or something like that. Your yoga, you can like, maybe hep up your yoga a little bit or something like that, but don't push your body too much during the cleanse
Okay,
in the
cool.
wrong direction. Try to get a little more laser focused on that coming within, taking care of yourself. Like keep doing your massage, like doing the oil massage. That's going to help the lymphatic system keep draining. So all these things you can, keep that up through this week too, but kind of honor that you're going to be probably eating a little bit less.
So the physical part, correct me if I'm wrong, the physical part isn't necessarily what you normally what you traditionally would do. It's more about what we're doing for this week and staying more focused on our accomplishment. Okay.
Right. Unless you are, say you're having the kitchery and you're having enough food and you feel like you want to like really sweat or get going one day or something, then that's fine. you're not trying to totally push yourself. Like, if you want to go to bed early, these, weeks, go to bed early, like honor your body, let it, this is only 3 weeks out of the whole year, out of 52 weeks a year. Well, we do it twice. So,
Right.
so we got 6 weeks. You kind of slow down a little bit. Like, instead of like pushing yourself through a hard workout, maybe meditate for 5 minutes. Like, really start to feel like we're afraid to slow down and stop as a society. It's almost like you're not supposed to do that. But in these weeks, take some time, like just stop for a minute. I mean, myself included, like I'm a go, morning to night. I like, even my hikes are usually fast, or if I do exercises. So in the weeks of detox, if you could have seen me walking yesterday, I was walking in the rain after work because I came home, had a little bit of, my soup, went out for a walk. It's raining. I walked so slow, but I was consciously saying to myself, like, just saunter. Like, I was listening to the rain. It was falling like, on my hood. And I just was kind of like thinking. So that's out of my norm. My norm would be, it's raining, it's fun, I'm going to power through this. I'm going to go faster. Take time, go within, like just reflect on something nice or something, like
I have to say, for me personally, that's a powerful message.
it takes a lot for someone who's a go from morning till night.
Mhm.
I think
I love that you shared that. Thank you.
I think I went to bed the other night. Kevin was watching TV and I snuck away, and I think I went to bed 10 to 9. I went upstairs with a book and I was ready to go in, and I closed the book and I said, nope, I'm tired. I'm going to bed. I never do that. And I was like, that's it, lights out. And it was beautiful. I slept like, and I don't do that. Like, I'm the one that pushes it. And like, although now though, I'm pretty much 10 o'clock. But so try these different things. Try a little bit of slowing down, feeling what's going on, letting the food nourish, try different recipes, or you don't even really have to get it real elaborate with the food. As long as you're getting that nourishment in, the less you're doing for your body, the less you're putting in, even in like thousands of, ingredients in one. Like, we've come to the point where we make these beautiful meals that have, 55 ingredients in them. The less you put in, the less your body has to do, and the more it can focus on detoxing what's really deep in those cells. So, simple recipes. That's why these recipes seem really simple, or they might seem like there's not much in them, or maybe they might sound a little bland. You can add a few things, but that's because the body it knows what to do with those few ingredients, and then it can work on detoxing. Doesn't have to work on digesting.
I also find, I mean, because I've been experimenting, I also find that the whole idea of coming up with a concoction, basically, that sounds great and works is healing and peaceful. It's almost
Mhm.
like a journey into this concoction that's supposed to be
And
bland.
that's a very good way to look at it.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's really not bland when you add all that other stuff into it that's emotional.
Yeah, these detoxes are really, for a lot of people, emotional. And a lot of times we have emotional blocks, say like we can't lose the weight, or we're doing something and it's just not happening. More times than not, that's an emotional block. So the body has that ability to come into a kapha state when it's holding on to something, when it's got an emotional trauma, could be from birth, could be even ancestral, like you're holding on to things that have been passed down to you from your grandparents, your parents, like you're carrying old baggage. Usually all of us are. And that emotion will block the body. It physically will block the body from losing weight or being active or going for like a new job or something. Like, you hold on to that security, and then you get so frustrated because, say you're dieting and you're doing everything you can and nothing's happening. A lot of times, more times than not, even myself, family members, like, even in school, like you learn that emotional body is almost usually stronger than the physical body. And until you go inward and tap into it, you have to have that emotional connection between the mind and the body, where it shifts, like we were talking about, that who is the person you're trying to be next, that goal, when you can begin to find out what those emotional attachments are, maybe you lost a loved one, maybe something happened in the past that is so traumatic, and you're like, no, I'm fine. I'm over this already. Like everything is okay. It usually is not. You usually have not addressed it enough that the body is holding on to it in this state of, that's how the body protects you. It's almost like a panning around you to protect. And until you go in and address it and have that barrier between the mind and the emotion, until you have that channel open and you can actually like get into it and accept it and move past it. And then all of a sudden, like this like huge enlightenment of like a lightness and an ease happens, to where you've really like tapped into it this time. Like you've let it go. You're not going to carry that anymore, or you're finding out what it is. And then something happens. You have to have this new person, this new vision that no longer is going to carry that. Like I had things from my childhood that were my mother's, that were my grandmother's, that were my great grandmother's. And I figured that out through like 20 years of going to all these things and learning how to deal with it, and actually going through different kind of, well, they were kind of treatments and things that I went through to unlock it, that I found out what it was, and I like cut the cord. And then I found I didn't pass it on to my daughters, and they don't have that mind emotion connection that I had, and my mother had, and my grandmother and my great grandmother. And it's amazing to see. And I've spoken to them about it, and they recognize that we all had it, but they don't now, because I cut the cord and I didn't pass it on to them. It's really it's fascinating.
It is.
That's so cool, because I
There's
dealt
things
with
in
like,
your past, yes,
yeah,
that you
and funny, like I took the dosha test and I'm always pitta, 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 pitta. That's me, right? And this time I was much more kapha leaning. And it's so interesting you just said that you can start kind of becoming a bit more kapha. I was having trouble losing weight, slow, like just blocked. And it's funny that I tested kapha, and it's like, since I started doing this, I feel like I've lost, I don't know, it's not about weight, but like I've been going pretty hard for the past like week, just because I had been scaling back already a little sooner. And like I got on the scale and like weight that I've been trying to lose for 7 months is like fell off. My sister saw me, she's like, dude, you look amazing. Like, what's going on? I'm like, I just feel like myself. I feel like I have something's
you were
opening up.
connected to something that was blocking it. And most of the time we don't know what it is. So we really have to sit and go in and, or, have someone else, like, there's these really great, like weekend retreats and things that you can go and be a part of, that go in and actually help you find out what it is. Or sometimes what it is, but you're protecting yourself of having to change. It's easier to stay that other person than it is to change and go in. And when we do, and that's a lot of the reflection right now in the detox, is to try to go into those places instead of putting all so the fillers, remember last week was filler. So it was less filler, more of the fat to get it out. Those fillers aren't just food. It's all the things we put on our schedule, all the things we put on our mind, and our emotional blocks and all that, so that we don't have to address some things, that we can stay in this little box. So the more we can take those fillers out, it's really hard for people nowadays to just sit in silence, sit and meditate. They're like, I can't meditate. I can't. Well, just try to sit.
I have to say, Ashley, you said something really valuable, is that you started feeling like yourself. And I really understand that, because through this process, I'm all of a sudden going, wow, that looks familiar.
Right. I think there's confidence to it, because it's challenging. It's hard. And I feel like for me personally, Aunt Deb and I were talking, sorry, I always call her Aunt Deb. I can't call her Debbie. It's Aunt Deb. Aunt Deb and I talk about this, like the feeling of accomplishment and confidence of like, it sounds silly, but like, I don't know, when's the last time I fasted for 18 hours?
That's
like
Tejas. You tapped into Tejas. So you tapped into the subtle dosha of pitta. When you feel you've done something that has conflict in it, or it's hard and you've overcome it because you had that desire and that focus to keep going, that's where the Tejas, that's where the subtle dosha of pitta is working for you. And you've gotten to that point where you've accomplished that. Like I said, in us, in society, we're taught like, oh, let's just be here. Let's just be like really satisfied being right here. But if you challenge and you let that lightness, and you let the body be light and airy and not filled with food and filler and schedules and constant going, then it can. We are blocking our own channels. Like, we're blocking our own ability to overcome or to reach goals or do things that we want, or lose weight, or, whatever it is. Get out of a really bad relationship or go into a really good one. Like, maybe we're really afraid to leave a job, or leave a relationship or something to go to something new and better that we know is going, because it's hard and it's scary.
It's
Yeah.
scary.
It's easier to stay right here. But
Yeah.
that Tejas, when we allow it to be part of us, and that's what happens in this week of the detox, all of those things in the body can become. And then it's the mind and the emotions, and all of this can be, gone forward. And that, you're going to shoot that arrow into that pinpoint, right into the target, right? What you want. But if we keep using these fillers and fillers and fillers, we're not allowing that to happen. So this cleanse is more about that than it is, I can't eat McDonald's anymore and I have to have a cucumber. Like, that's not, it's so, it's so much more than that. Like, oh, I can't drive through and get that Slurpee. I have to eat a green juice. It's more about, what is the effect of this good stuff? These different things, these different things. What is the effect? What is the benefit that I'm going to get from this, rather than stopping at McDonald's or going to 7-Eleven and getting a Slurpee, or even our better fast food places? You don't know what oils they use, how much fillers going, like that makes the body work harder. So for this week, that's why we're going to try our hardest to fruits, vegetables, beans, rices, like things like that, just because the body can digest it so much faster, so it can go to work doing the other stuff. It's really not about depriving yourself. It's about adding that quality to your body that, is going to really make this week easy. So it could be a little challenging, but again, challenge your hunger. Your hunger is that's the desire, and that's that discernment that's going to give you that laser focus, and that the ability to do something. Like, you might be hungry, drink a little bit more water, and then, then eat a little bit. But what does that hunger feel like? You usually feel better. Go for a little walk, if it's been 6 hours or something, then eat. But if it's only been 2 and you just want a snack, drink your water, go for a walk.
But also the other part of the that I'm seeing is, like, my skin is different.
Yes.
Like, my skin on my face is
Yeah.
different.
Yep.
So true.
Yes. Everything will start to just feel a little more supple, a little bit more. And then the more we keep doing, the oil massage, that's going to help it. And the more you're hydrating, everything's going to be better. So the more
I thought I needed Botox, but I'm doing pretty good now after 2 weeks.
I had a question on that when she was talking about her skin. Have any of you noticed, since we started this detox, because I had started doing that dry brushing and stuff before, but even more so now with taking the toxins out, I don't feel good until I do the dry brush and the oil now.
your body is starting to crave
Right?
better habits.
Yes, where I'm like, I'll be sitting there going, gotta go get ready for my shower. I need this.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
It's tingly, or
Right? Yeah, thank you. And it just feels
cool.
good. I'm like,
And then when
I
you get
feel
in the
better.
shower, after you get nice and warm, then you're going to hit the cold button.
My husband thinks I'm nuts. It's so funny, but I love that. It's like,
Yes.
oh,
Me too.
Oh,
I go
that's so
from
funny.
warm, soap up a little bit, and then I told you, I just don't even look now. I'm like, we need this. And I just turn it to cold and go, it's like, it's invigorating. It just snaps you
Wakes you up.
right into life. Can't wait for Kevin to open that pool. All right. All right. Let's
so good tonight. Thank you.
try some good, easy menu items this week, to try there and keep up with, the tongue scraping, try to get to bed early, give that time in between meals, hydrate, walk. Like, we're going to keep that stuff going, and just see where you go with the meal planning. Don't starve yourself. If you're really hungry or you're feeling weak or something, you have to eat, but you can try different things. See how it goes. And I'm sure, the weekend's usually a little challenging for most people, but that's okay. It's not the end of the world. So you can,
you know what's I found it's funny you say that the weekend. I find with the weekend to be more challenging, not with the food, but with the people. Like I felt kind of, I was actually kind of angry at the space invasion. Like people were like, oh, quick, come by. Oh, what's up? And I like friends are by and I'm like, I created this nice little cocoon. I don't want you in it. Like it's weird. Like that I found like very greedy about my space, more so even than like my food, which is weird.
Yeah, that's a wonderful thing to feel, because a lot of times people wind up bringing more people in so that they don't have to focus on that other time. But you really, when you start going in and getting in tune, you're like, I'm kind of liking this little bubble right here.
Mhm.
It's my time right now. And it's about taking care of you. Again, it's only 3 weeks. Like, although I tell you, once we get into week 3, I guarantee a few of you're gonna like this, and you're gonna start like, it's gonna carry on for a little bit, but that's all to
I
be.
got that feeling.
Yeah. So I'm going to send out, I have like 3 or 4 more topics that I'm going to send out, like little short videos, probably tomorrow, the next day, whatever. And then we'll get through the weekend, and then we'll have a call again. Tuesday seems to work a little bit better than Monday. Monday sometimes is a little crazy for people. So we'll keep it Tuesday again, but text me, email, like, or if you have any recipe questions. I probably have done every one of the recipes, or the shakes or the smoothies, or I don't do the raw stuff because my digestion is very vata. It's airy and gassy. And so it just doesn't serve me to do. I even warm my smoothie up a little bit. I put hot water in my smoothie. But the juices I do them room temperature. So if I make a juice, I do that room temperature. But most of the food, I don't do the living foods, like the raw salads, because it would be counterproductive for me. So really listen to your body, like what's working for you and what's not working. And again, send out some emails, or, kind of go back and forth on Facebook. If you tried a really good menu item or recipe, something, send us a picture, and let's see how this week goes.
Thank
Been
you.
great.
Any more
Awesome call.
questions?
Thank you.
Everybody ready to go into this deep dive?
Yeah, baby, let's do
Yep.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
it. Bye.
Get the mind going, that laser focus. What is your desire? What is your real desire? And pull a layer of that emotion away. Find out what it is, what you need to like bury, put in the backyard and bury it.
Love that.
All
Yes,
right. Have a great night, everyone.
Have a
Bye.
great week, everybody.
Thanks.